huge explosion covers the whole of Ragnarok. Goku shouts, "It's awesome!" All kind of this life disappeared in just 5 seconds. The whole place had changed to a lifeless, rocky look. Vegeta says, "What the hell happened?" Goku replies, "They all disappeared." Beerus would be very nervous and said, "And Azathoth? Where is he?" Vegeta shouts, "Mr. Beerus! Whis, behind you!" Whis looks back. Whis is surprised that he didn't feel his presence. Azathoth hits the deities with his tentacles. Beerus is brutally hit, while Whis was able to dodge the hit. Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan would be very impressed. Gohan would say, "Oh no, that being attacked Mr. Beerus." Vegeta says, "Guys are strong." Whis yells, "Mr. Beerus!" Beerus spits blood. Whis says, "Mr. Beerus, are you okay?" Beerus responds hoarsely, "I'm fine." Whis says, "That guy is more powerful than I thought. I couldn't even feel his presence." Beerus says, "Whis, do you think we have a chance?" "I really don't know." Beerus says, "Interesting." Goku and Vegeta get in front of Beerus by transforming into Super Saiyan. Vegeta yells, "I'll take care of that monster." Vegeta charges a great energy in his hands. Vegeta says, "Let's see if you can withstand the powerful Big Bang." Vegeta launches his attack. Goku is surprised Vegeta had not even scratched him. Vegeta says, "How is it possible? I put all my power in that attack." Beerus says, "Don't get in my way, Vegeta. This is my fight." Beerus shouts, "Goku, don't even think of calling Zeno-sama to fix our problems. This we have to solve ourselves." Beerus stands in front of Azathoth. Whis says, "Mr. Beerus, please be careful. Azathoth's power is very unpredictable. Even I couldn't sense his intentions when he attacked us." "I know. I can't seem to predict his intentions." Vegeta remembers. Could it be? Gohan says, "What's wrong, Mr. Vegeta?" Vegeta says, "Don't you remember, Gohan? That god that disappeared said that Azathoth is a very powerful being, the most powerful among all the deities, so much so that even Whis compared him to Zeno-sama. But the disadvantage of this guy is that his mentality is only that of a 4-year-old child. When a child wakes up from his nap, he often gets angry. Azathoth has so much power that he can't control it. That's the reason why he eliminated all kind of life in this place." Gohan says, "I remember him, but even if he is very powerful, his party is too limited to fight. Maybe if we attack him together with our maximum power, we can do something to him." Goku says, "We lose nothing if we try." Beerus says, "Wait a minute, I want to try to do something." Beerus approaches Azathoth. Beerus says, "Hawkeye." Beerus' power of destruction has no effect on Azathoth. Beerus says, "As I imagine, this guy is much stronger than me." Goku shouts, "Mr. Beerus!" Beerus says, "Let me try it. Whis, make sure Azathoth doesn't escape." Whis seriously says, "As you say, Mr. Beerus." Whis with his staff and closes Azathoth in the containment sphere. Whis says, "The moment his powers are closed, I will deactivate the spear that encloses Azathoth so that his powers hit the target." Goku says, "Very well. Let's attack him with our maximum powers. Gohan, Vegeta!" Goku uses Ultra Imsket. Gohan uses his Beast Mode and Vegeta with Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. Beerus, like the others, creates enormous power in his hands. Now, Everyone released their powers. Whis deactivates his power, making Goku and the others hit Azathoth. Gohan says, "We hit him!" The big explosion covers the whole planet, with dust and smoke. Whis is the first to be surprised. Beerus says, "What's wrong, Whis?" Iris looks carefully, and when the dust fades away, he sees that it didn't do anything to Azathoth. Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan are surprised. Whis says, "Did he dodge it? No, that's impossible. I'm sure he received the attack." Suddenly, Azathoth starts to behave strangely. Goku says, "What's going on?" Azathoth's skin breaks. Beerus says, "Don't tell me what." At that moment, a completely different being comes out of Azathoth, which says, "He transformed?" Azathoth says, "Thanks for waking me up." Vegeta says, "Speak." Gohan, Goku, Vegeta, Whis, and Beerus could feel a terrifying power. A being with a much smaller body than the monster Azathoth appears in front of Goku and the others. Goku nervously says, "His body totally changed." Azathoth stares at Goku and the others. Azathoth hits Whis, sending him crashing into several mountains. Beerus is shocked. "Whis, how is it possible?" Goku says, "Mr. Whis." Goku runs to help Whis. Goku says, "Mr. Whis, are you all right?" Whis answers, "That's right. Don't worry, I think we made a big mistake." Goku repeats, "A big mistake?" Whis explains, "The body that we saw before was only a shield so that the real Azathoth would not come out. When we attacked it with all our powers, the shield broke, making this being appear with a great power. That also explains why we did not feel its presence at the beginning, or maybe it could also be that it simply evolved. I still don't know exactly." Beerus says, "Damn you, you will fight me." He reswanches himself to hit Azathoth. Azathoth looks at his hands, appreciating his body and power. Beerus repeatedly attacks Azathoth's kicks, and punches are received by Azathoth without showing any response. Azathoth shouts, "This is amazing!" Beerus would be very worried as his punches would have no effect. Beerus says, "So the old man wasn't kidding when he said this guy is a fearsome being." Beerus soars into the sky, coming out of the planet's atmosphere, created a great nova of energy. Gohan shouts, "Oh no! Mr. Beerus plans to destroy this planet!" Goku shouts, "Mr. Beerus, don't do it!" Azathoth smiles. Beerus says, "I'll turn you into dust." Whis shouts, "Son Goku, Vegeta, Gohan!" Whis walks away with Goku and the others from the place. Azathoth raises his hands and claps them together, making two planets collide with great power, crushing Beerus. Beerus disappears with his energy. Beerus falls sharply unconscious to the ground. Whis says, "Mr. Beerus." Vegeta says, "That guy is the same demon." Gohan says, "Impressive. He was able to move the planets at will with such ease." Azathoth approaches Beerus and says, "How strange. Why were you able to stay alive after I wiped out all life in my wake? It doesn't matter. I will still assassinate you." Goku says, "Mr. Beerus, damn it. I can't watch that anymore." Goku appears in front of Beerus. Whis says, "Son Goku." Vegeta shouts, "Kakarot, you're no match for him." Gohan says, "Dad." Azathoth shouts, "Who are you?" Goku says, "My name is Goku, and I will not allow you to murder Beerus." Azathoth says, "That's not your decision, and you don't have the power to change my mind either." Azathoth approaches Beerus. Goku stands guard. Azathoth keeps walking. Goku launches into a fight. Azathoth's eyes shine. Goku is hit hard multiple times, fading his transformation. Gohan yells, "Dad!" Goku with a broken voice says, "Stop." Azathoth replies, "You are the only ones responsible for this. You should never have meddled in what doesn't concern you. Now you'll have to die." Azathoth grabs Beerus by the neck. Azathoth replies, "Die!" Whis appears trying to hit Azathoth. Easily dodging Whis's blow, Whis angrily replies, "Let it go." Goku says, "Mr. Whis." Whis angrily shouts, "I told you to leave him right now." Azathoth says, "Of you five, you are the most interesting." Vegeta impressive. "I dodge Mr. Whis blows, making it look very easy. It's also the first time I see Mr. Whis so angry." Azathoth says, "Let's play a little. 10 minutes. If you last 10 minutes fighting me without dying, I'll spare the life of this trash." Azathoth locks Beerus in an energy sphere. Azathoth says, "If you die before 10 minutes, my energy will carbonize him completely to the bones. Even his soul will burn depending on you." Goku says, "Mr. Whis." Whis raises his staff, healing Goku. Whis says, "Go with the others. If something goes wrong, we will have no choice but to use that button." Goku says, "Mr. Whis." Whis says, "Son Goku, bringing the highest authority to a different multiverse can be considered as attempted murder or treason against Zeno-sama, and that is punishable by death. In this case, since Mr. Beerus and I are involved, it could be much worse. The death of our entire universe. So I recommend you not to use it. This is our fault and we have to fix it." Vegeta yells, "Whis, there is still an option. You can go back in time like this time you did with Frieza." Whis says, "That's impossible." Vegeta says, "What?" Whis says, "Azathoth is the very creator of this multiverse. He is a creator and a destroyer, and he is stronger than me. That's why it won't work." Whis attempts to use this technique to go back in time. Whis says, "As I thought, I can't use some techniques outside my multiverse." Azathoth says, "I understand. That's why you didn't disappear when I eliminated all kinds of life at this planet. The reason is simple. You're not from here and you come from a very different place than here. Enough of this bullshit. Time starts now. Attack me." Whis says, "I will fight with all my strength." Whis and Azathoth disappear, causing huge energy clashes in the sky. Vegeta is impressed and says, "What?" Gohan says, "That's the power of Mr. Whis? We can win. I'm sure we can win." Mr. Whis starts the fight at the same pace as Azathoth. Vegeta says, "It would be a fool. If Whis said that Azathoth is stronger, it's because he's right. Besides, that jerk Azathoth is just play. He's not fighting for real." Goku says, "We have to do something. The strong clashes of power will continue." Whis says, "I never thought there would be someone other than an angel or Zeno-sama himself who could surpass my powers." Azathoth says, "Zeno-sama?" Whis suddenly comes up with a great idea. Whis says, "We have to take Azathoth to our multiverse." Goku is surprised by Whis' proposal. Goku says, "But how do we do that?" Whis says, "I will create a portal and force Azathoth in. You take care of Mr. Beerus. It's most likely that once Azathoth enters the portal, the energy surrounding Mr. Beerus will disappear. Prepare." Goku says, "I understand." Azathoth asks, "What are you planning?" Whis says, "I know my power is not enough to stop you, but I know of someone who can confront you." Azathoth says, "Anyone who can stand up to me? It is impossible for a being with these characteristics to exist." Whis opens a portal. Azathoth says, "So, a portal. You want to take me with that being? That Zeno-sama?" Whis says, "I will even if it costs me my life." Azathoth says, "Interesting. But let me ask you something." Whis says, "I wonder what it is. How did they get here?" Whis says, "Let's just say I just opened a random portal. I never imagined that in this multiverse, someone as powerful as you would rule. I imagine that apart from you, there must also be very powerful beings scattered in your multiverse." Azathoth laughs and says, "Haha, right, so a random portal. This must be a matter of fate." Azathoth continues, "I want to meet that guy. I'll go with you." Vegeta, Gohan, Goku, and Whis himself are shocked by Azathoth's words. Azathoth vanishes, his energy that imprisoned Beerus. Goku says, "Mr. Beerus, wake up." Azathoth says, "Come on, I can't wait to meet him." Whis still couldn't believe that Azathoth had said. Whis was beginning to question whether it was a good idea. Azathoth enters the portal. "Has just emptied on its own. Let's all go." Whis and the others return to their multiverse. Azathoth says, "So it's here. All the destructive gods and their angels. Daishinkan and Zeno-sama himself feel the great presence." Daishinkan says, "This presence comes from Universe 7. Zeno-sama says, "It's an incredible power. Let's go." Daishinkan responds immediately. Daishinkan and Zeno-sama quickly travel to the site. Azathoth says, "It doesn't really make much difference, but I know it's not my multiverse because I feel some very powerful presences approaching." Daishinkan along with Zeno-sama and his guardians appear. Zeno-sama says, "What if it is Goku? Hello, Goku." Goku says, "Little Zeno-sama." Azathoth says, "Zeno-sama?" Zeno-sama asks, "Who are you?" Whis replies, "Zeno-sama, as well as yourself. This person is above all, but in a multiverse different from this one." Daishinkan says, "From another multiverse?" Whis says, "It's all my fault. I will accept responsibility." Goku says, "Whis." Daishinkan says, "Explain to me, Whis. What happened exactly?" Whis replies, "I created some portals with different points throughout the multiverse and we enter one. Son Goku and the other participated in a tournament if I remember correctly, so they called it the Ragnarok tournament." Goku says, "That's right. I myself asked Mr. Whis to take me to a place like that. It was a god versus humans tournament. If the gods won, they would destroy the whole human race, but if the humans won, they would let them live longer. That's why I asked Gohan and Vegeta to participate along with me." Daishinkan says, "I understand." Whis says, "But in that tournament, there was something strange, a power that slipped under the arena of Ragnarok. Azathoth. I never imagined that a being as powerful as him was sealed under the arena of combat." Azathoth said, "That doesn't matter now. I only came for 2 reasons. Daishinkan says, "2 reasons?" Azathoth says, "I want Zeno-sama to face me." Daishinkan is surprised. Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan will be very nervous. Zeno-sama says, "Then I will destroy you." Zeno-sama raises his hand, using his power of destruction to disappear. Azathoth. Zeno-sama is surprised and says, "What happened? Why didn't you disappear?" Azathoth didn't know what Zeno-sama had just done. Daishinkan was surprised just like the others. Daishinkan said, "The only reason that comes to mind is that Azathoth is as powerful as you, Mr. Zeno-sama." Zeno-sama says, "Impossible! It's awesome! Tell me what you will do if we refuse to fight you." Azathoth says, "What a good question. I really don't know yet. If they don't accept, I could kill them right here." Daishinkan says, "I see. In that case, I will be your opponent." Azathoth says, "I just came here to face Zeno-sama, the ruler of this world, the most powerful being in this multiverse." Whis says, "I think I made a big mistake in bringing him here, but if I did not, he would have murdered Mr. Beerus and all of them." The Daishinkan says, "Now we have one more important issue in front of us. After we finish this, we'll talk about it." Azathoth says, "Do you claim to leave this place alive?" Daishinkan attacks Azathoth, but Azathoth dodges the attack. Azathoth says, "You're much stronger than the other subject. Let's see how much I can have fun against you." Azathoth hits Daishinkan. Azathoth is surprised because, like the Daishinkan, he had dodged Azathoth's attack easily. Azathoth says, "You are fast." Daishinkan and Azathoth hit each other simultaneously, producing large impact shocks that would be heard in all universes. Champa would say, "What the hell is going on? In Universe 7, you feel monstrous presences." Vermont would say, "How's this possible? We are in Universe 11, and yet we feel these huge presences coming from Universe 7. What does this mean?" Vados would be nervous. Champa would say, "What happened, Vados? One of those presences is my father." Champa is surprised. Jiren says, I imagine Son Goku must also be there." Toplo says, "Tell me, Jiren, have you ever felt a presence like that comes from Universe 7? Jiren says, "Never." Quaitella says this is worrying. The strong impacts were still going on. This fight had become a competition of endurance. Whoever makes a mistake or gets a little tired would receive great damage. Vegeta says there's just the level of one of the most powerful in the multiverse. It's awesome. Gohan says, "What power? I can't imagine reaching such a level." Goku says, "Lord Daishinkan is awesome." Zeno-sama says, "It's amazing! What fun! Daishinkan, you can use some of your real power." Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan are shocked by Zeno-sama's words. Vegeta says, "What? He's not using his full power? I thought that compared to Whis, he would be only a little stronger. Daishinkan's so strong." Whis says, "My father is not yet using half of his strength. The gap between my father and me in terms of power and skill is very big. I have not even thought about matching it." Daishinkan expels enormous power by pushing back Azathoth. Daishinkan says, "Thank you very much, Zeno-sama." Zeno-sama raises his hand and says, "Let the seal be broken. Liberation." Daishinkan says, I have forgotten how nice it is to have all my power back. Though he says, impressive. Gohan says, its power has no limits. How is it possible for such a being to exist? Zeno-sama says, Goku, this is going to be a lot of fun, nor do I remember when was the last time I saw Daishinkan in his perfect form. Whis says, my father is incredible. The truth is that not even I knew of that power. Zeno-sama says, Angel Whis, thank you very much for bringing that really strong guy. Whis says, Mr. Zeno-sama. Zeno-sama says, it's very entertaining to see them fight. Even I would like to participate. Whis is shocked by Zeno-sama's words. Beerus wakes up and says, where am I? Goku says, Mr. Beerus. Beerus says, is that you, Goku? Where are we? Whis says, at last, wake up, Mr. Beerus. We're back in our multiverse, but apparently the situation got out of hand. Beerus is surprised. Beerus begins to tremble and says, Mr. Zeno-sama, good morning, afternoon, nights. I hope you're in good health. Zeno-sama says, hello, what's this flight? It's very interesting and fabulous. Beerus says, fight? Beerus is shocked to see Azathoth. Beerus says, Lord Zeno-sama, this site is very dangerous. Vegeta says, Mr. Beerus, pay more attention. Beerus says, Vegeta. Beerus would feel an enormous presence, a presence more powerful than that of Azathoth himself. Beerus, surprised, says, who is he? Why does he have so much power? Whis replies, Mr. Beerus, he is my father, but in his perfect form. Beerus, surprised and terrified, said, the Daishinkan? His power is more terrifying than I thought. Azathoth says, ha ha ha, so you too can evolve. Daishinkan says, you too? Apparently you've just been playing. Azathoth says, you aren't doing the same. Vegeta is surprised. That insect in all this fight has only been playing games. He has more power. Gohan says, I have no words for this. It just seems like a dream. Goku would be seriously watching the fight. Daishinkan would say, shall we continue with the fight? Azathoth asks, answer me something. Is Zeno-sama stronger than you? Daishinkan responds, if it is stronger, don't be fooled by my appearance. Just like me, he can evolve and become a perfect being. And yes, he is much stronger than me. After all, he is the one at the top of this multiverse. Azathoth says, interesting. Azathoth screams, Zeno-sama, I've come to propose something to you. Zeno-sama replies, yes? To propose something to me? What? Azathoth says, I invite you to a tournament in my multiverse. 13 bouts. The one who gets the first 7 wins, and they will be the winner. The only requirement is to be victorious and to leave the arena alive. In conclusion, one of the 2 fighters must die. You can choose any warrior from your multiverse or any other. It is obvious that in this tournament you and I will face each other. Goku, Vegeta, and the others are surprised. Gohan says, like the Ragnarok tournament? Azathoth says, that's right. Just like that silly tournament. I will leave everything back to normal and make some modifications. We will be free to use our power 100% without any restrictions. Daishinkan is surprised by Azathoth's sudden proposal. Zeno-sama's expression would change. Daishinkan would say angrily, idiot, that makes you think you can demand such a thing? Don't you even match my strength that makes you think you'll beat Zeno-sama? Azathoth transforms by completely changing its appearance. Goku's body, as well as the others, would not stop shaking. Goku says, what's wrong with me? How is it possible? Even Daishinkan was surprised. Azathoth raises his power by creating a great pressure expelled to Daishinkan, causing him to crash into a star. Vegeta says, the power of that cursed man completely surpasses that of Daishinkan. Azathoth would approach Zeno-sama. The guards stand in front of him, blocking his way. The guards say, don't get close. Azathoth says, then what do you say, Zeno-sama? Daishinkan rises up and quickly supports the guardians to protect Zeno-sama. Daishinkan says, your opponent is me. He will not accept such a thing. Zeno-sama says, it's okay, I accept. Everyone is surprised. Zeno-sama says, you and I will fight to the death.